Hello, and welcome to another episode of Top 3 Entertainment. I'm your host, Jerry Ruiz, and today we're going to discuss my experience of day 2 of CES, where I attended the keynotes by Nvidia and AMD. It was January 5th, 2026, and my mom, my Aunt Mona, and I were preparing for breakfast. This was one of the rare occasions I had to spend time with them because of how busy CES is. We headed to Ameribrunch, located right next to Fremont downtown. When we arrived, the place was nearly empty, but it quickly filled up once we settled in. I ordered smoked salmon toast, my wife chose stuffed French toast, while my mom and aunt opted for veggie omelets. I also picked a green detox drink to cleanse my body, and my aunt enjoyed a cream brulee latte. Everyone else had like orange juice and coffee. After our meal, we made our way to the Fontainebleau, where the Nvidia event was set to take place. The excitement of arriving at the Fontainebleau was palpable. I had to be cautious in the parking garage as cars sped by. They didn't care. However, once we entered the hotel, it was truly breathtaking. The lobby featured a stunning rose display, and the ceiling was beautiful. The casino was vast, but the pleasant aesthetics made the long walk to the conference area feel less daunting. As I reached the line to enter the event, my heart sank. It was so long that I feared I wouldn't get in. Fortunately, an Nvidia staff member noticed my badge and invited us to follow him. After confirming our email registration, we were escorted to the front of the line and granted access to the event. They informed us that we couldn't go to the first floor and directed us to the general admission area. On our way to the third floor, we grabbed some free snacks. As I stepped into the seating area, I accidentally stepped on a large piece of food. How embarrassing. We took our seats and eagerly awaited Jensen's entrance on stage. The show kicked off with an incredible introduction showcasing Nvidia and their innovative AI applications in various products.
Ready, go!
about 15 keynotes worth of material to pack in here. I'm so happy to see all of you. You got 3,000 people in this auditorium. There's 2,000 people in the courtyard watching us. There's another 1,000 people apparently in the 4th floor where there's supposed to be NVIDIA show floors, all watching this keynote, and of course, millions around the world are going to be watching this to kick off this new year. Well, every 10 to 15 years, the computer industry resets. A new platform.
They talked about the AI evolution. Jensen Huang discussed how AI has transitioned from large language models to agentic systems and physical AI.
In 2015, the first language model that I thought was really going to make a difference made a huge difference. It was called BERT. 2017, Transformers came. It wasn't until 5 years later, 2022, that ChatGPT moment happened, and it awakened the world to the possibilities of artificial intelligence. Something very important happened a year after that. The first O1 model from ChatGPT, the first reasoning model, completely revolutionary, invented this idea called test time scaling, which is a very commonsensical thing. Not only did we pre-train a model to learn, we post-train it with our reinforcement learning so that it could learn skills. And now we also have test time scaling, which is another way of saying thinking. You think in real time. Each one of these phases of artificial intelligence requires an enormous amount of compute. And the computing law continued to scale. Large language models continued to get better. Meanwhile, another breakthrough happened. And this breakthrough happened in 2024. Agentic systems started to emerge. In 2025, it started to proliferate just about everywhere. Agentic models that have the ability to reason, look up information, do research, use tools, plan futures, simulate outcomes, all of a sudden started to solve very, very important problems. One of my favorite agentic models is called Cursor, which revolutionized the way we do software programming at NVIDIA. Agentic systems are going to really take off from here. Of course, there were other types of AI. We know that large language models isn't the only type of information. Wherever the universe has information, wherever the universe has structure, we could teach a large language model, a form of language model, to go understand that information, to understand its representation, and to turn that into an AI. One of the biggest, most important one is physical AI. AIs that understand the laws of nature. And then, of course, physical AIs is about AIs interacting with the world, but the world itself has information, encoded information, and that's called AI physics. AI that, in the case of physical AI, you have AI that interacts with the physical world, and you have AI physics, AI that understands the laws of physics. And then lastly, one of the most important things that happened last year, the advancement of open models. We can now know that AI is going to proliferate everywhere when open source, when open innovation, when innovation across every single company and every industry around the world is activated at the same time. Open models really took off last year.
NVIDIA emphasized their leadership in the open model ecosystem, promoting the growth of AI through open source systems.
Well, it turns out we have billions of dollars of supercomputers in operation so that we could develop our open models. I am so pleased with the work that we're doing. It is starting to attract attention all over the world and all over the industries because we are doing frontier AI model work in so many different domains. The work that we did in proteins, Groot, a humanoid robotic system, Earth 2, Nemotron, Cosmos, and then today we're going to talk a little bit about Alpamayo, the work that we've been doing in self-driving cars.
Huang introduced AI agents as multi-model, multi-cloud, and hybrid cloud applications capable of reasoning, researching, utilizing tools, and simulating outcomes.
Your ability to build AI agents. This is really a groundbreaking area of development. You know, at first when ChatGPT came out, people said, you know, gosh, it produced really interesting results, but it hallucinated greatly. And the reason why it hallucinated, of course, it could memorize everything in the past, but it can't memorize everything in the future, in the current. And so it needs to be grounded in research. It has to do fundamental research before it answers a question. The ability to reason about, do I have to do research? Do I have to use tools? How do I break up a problem? into steps. Each one of these steps, something that the AI model knows how to do, and together it is able to compose it into a sequence of steps to perform something it's never done before, never been trained to do. This is the wonderful capability of reasoning. We can encounter a circumstance we've never seen before and break it down into circumstances and knowledge or rules that we know how to do because we've experienced it in the past. And so the ability for AI models now to be able to reason, incredibly powerful. The reasoning capability of agents opened the doors to all of these different applications. We no longer have to train an AI model to know everything on day one, just as we don't have to know everything on day one, that we should be able to, in every circumstance, reason about how to solve that problem. Large language models has now made this fundamental leap, the ability to use reinforcement learning and chain of thought and search and planning and all these different techniques in reinforcement learning has made it possible for us to have this basic capability, and it's also now completely open sourced. But the thing that's really terrific is another breakthrough that happened. And the first time I saw it was with Arvind's Perplexity, the search company, the AI search company, really innovative company. And the first time I realized they were using multiple models at the same time, I thought it was completely genius. Of course we would do that. Of course an AI would also call upon all of the world's great AIs to solve the problem it wants to solve at any part of the reasoning chain. And this is the reason why AIs are really multimodal, meaning they understand speech and images and text and videos and 3D graphics and proteins. It's multimodal. It's also multi-model, meaning that they should be able to use any model that best fits the task. It is multi-cloud by definition, therefore, because these AI models are sitting in all these different places, and it also is hybrid cloud. Because if you're an enterprise company or you built a robot or whatever that device is, sometimes it's at the edge, sometimes a radio cell tower, maybe sometimes it's in an enterprise, or maybe it's a place where a hospital where you need to have the data in real time right next to you. Whatever those applications are, we know now this is what an AI application looks like in the future. Or another way to think about that, because future applications are built on AIs, this is the basic framework of future applications. This basic framework, this basic structure of agentic AIs that could do the things that I'm talking about, that is multi-model, has now turbocharged AI startups of all kinds.
Nvidia unveiled its comprehensive physical AI platform, highlighting the importance of simulation and synthetic data generation for training, AIs that comprehend the laws of nature and engage with the physical world.
The next thing is physical AI. This is an area that you've seen me talk about for several years. In fact, we've been working on this for 8 years. The question is, how do you take something that is intelligent inside a computer and interacts with you with screens and speakers to something that can interact with the world, meaning it can understand the common sense of how the world works? Object permanence. If I look away and I look back, that object is still there. Causality. If I push it, it tips over. It understands friction and gravity. It understands inertia. That a heavy truck rolling down the road is going to need a little bit more time to stop. That a ball is going to keep on rolling. These ideas are common sense to even a little child, but for AI, it's completely unknown. And so we have to create a system that allows AIs to learn the common sense of the physical world, learn its laws, but also to be able to, of course, learn from data, and the data is quite scarce, and to be able to evaluate whether that AI is working, meaning it has to simulate in an environment. How does an AI know that the actions that it's performing is consistent with what it should do if it doesn't have the ability to simulate the response of the physical world back on its actions? The response of its actions is really important to simulate. Otherwise, there's no way to evaluate it. It's different every time. And so this basic system requires 3 computers. One computer, of course, the one that we know that NVIDIA builds for training the AI models. Another computer that we know is to inference the models. Inferencing the model is essentially a robotics computer that runs in a car or runs in a robot or runs in a factory, runs anywhere at the edge. But there has to be another computer that's designed for simulation. And simulation is at the heart of almost everything NVIDIA does. This is where we are most comfortable. And simulation was really the foundations of almost everything that we've done with physical AI. So we have 3 computers and multiple stacks that run on these computers, these libraries, to make them useful. Omniverse is our digital twin, physically based simulation world. Cosmos, as I mentioned earlier, is our foundation model, not a foundation model for language, but a foundation model of the world. And it's also aligned with language. You could say something like, what's happening to the ball? And they'll tell you the ball's rolling down the street. And so a world foundation model, and then, of course, the robotics models. We have 2 of them. One of them is called Groot. The other one's called Alpamayo that I'm going to tell you about. Now, one of the most important things that we have to do with physical AI is to create the data to train the AI in the first place. Where does that data come from? Rather than, instead of having languages, because we created a bunch of text that are what we consider ground truth that the AI can learn from, how do we teach an AI the ground truth of physics? There are lots and lots of videos, but hardly enough to capture the diversity and the type of interactions that we need. And so this is where great minds came together and transformed what used to be compute into data. Now, using synthetic data generation that is grounded and conditioned by the laws of physics, grounded and conditioned by ground truth, we can now selectively, cleverly generate data that we can then use to train the AI. So for example, what comes into this AI, this Cosmos AI world model on the left, over here, is the output of a traffic simulator. Now this traffic simulator is hardly enough for an AI to learn from. We can take this, put it into a Cosmos foundation model, and generate surround video that is physically based and physically plausible that the AI can now learn from.
They announced the world's first thinking and reasoning autonomous vehicle AI, developed by NVIDIA, trained end-to-end using human demonstrations and Cosmos-generated data.
And we've made enormous progress. Today, we're announcing Alpamayo, the world's first thinking, reasoning, autonomous vehicle AI. Alpamayo is trained end-to-end, literally from camera in to actuation out. The camera in, lots and lots of miles that are driven by itself using human demonstration, and we have lots and lots of miles that are generated by Cosmos. In addition to that, hundreds of thousands of examples are labeled very, very carefully so that we could teach the car how to drive. Alpamayo does something that's really special. Not only does it take sensor input and activates steering wheel, brakes, and acceleration, it also reasons about what action it is about to take. It tells you what action it's going to take, the reasons by which it came about that action, and then, of course, the trajectory. All of these are coupled directly and trained very specifically by a large combination of human-trained and as well as Cosmos-generated data. The result of it is just really incredible. Not only does your car drive as you would expect it to drive, and it drives so naturally because it learned directly from human demonstrators, but in every single scenario, when it comes up to the scenario, it reasons about, it tells you what it's going to do, and it reasons about what's about to do. Now, the reason why this is so important is because of the long tail of driving. It's impossible for us to simply collect every single possible scenario for everything that could ever happen in every single country, in every single circumstance that's possibly ever going to happen for all of population. However, it is very likely that every scenario, if decomposed into a whole bunch of other smaller scenarios, are quite normal for you to understand. And so these long tails will be decomposed into quite normal circumstances that the car knows how to deal with. It just needs to reason about it. And in the case of the models above that I just shown you, the model here is called Alpamayo. And Alpamayo today is open sourced. This incredible body of work, it took several thousand people. Our AV team is several thousand people, just to put in perspective. Our partner, Ola, I think Ola is here in the audience somewhere, Mercedes, agreed to partner with us 5 years ago to go make all of this possible. We imagine that someday 1 billion cars on the road will all be autonomous. You could either have it be a robo-taxi that you're orchestrating and renting from somebody, or you could own it and it's driving by itself. Or you could decide to drive for yourself. And so, but every single car will have autonomous vehicle capability. Every single car will be AI powered. And so the model layer in this case is Alpamayo, and the application above that is the Mercedes-Benz. Okay, and so this entire stack is our NVIDIA first entire stack endeavor. And we've been working on it for this entire time, and I'm just so happy that the first AV car from NVIDIA is going to be on the road in Q1, and then it goes Europe in Q2, here in the United States in Q1, then Europe in Q2, and I think it's Asia in Q3 and Q4. And the powerful thing is that we're going to keep on updating it with next versions of Alpamayo and versions after that. There's no question in my mind now that this is going to be one of the largest robotics industries, and I'm so happy that we worked on it. And it taught us an enormous amount about how to help the rest of the world build robotic systems.
Huang introduced the Nvidia Vera Rubin Platform, featuring 6 new chips, including the Vera Rubin CPU, Vera Rubin GPU, ConnectX-9 Super NIC, and BlueField 4, aimed at developing the next generation of AI supercomputers. This platform also tackles the context is the new bottleneck challenge with NVIDIA Context Memory Storage Platform, aspiring to provide a unified platform for all AI.
And so today, I can tell you that Vera Rubin is in full production. You guys want to take a look at Vera Rubin? All right, come on. Play it, please.
Vera Rubin arrives just in time for the next frontier of AI. This is the story of how we built it. The architecture, a system of 6 chips, engineered to work as one, born from extreme co-design. It begins with Vera, a custom-designed CPU, double the performance of the previous generation, and the Rubin GPU. Vera and Rubin are co-designed from the start to bidirectionally and coherently share data faster and with lower latency. Then, 17,000 components come together on a Vera Rubin compute board. High-speed robots place components with micron precision before the Vera CPU and 2 Rubin GPUs complete the assembly. Capable of delivering 100 petaflops of AI, 5 times that of its predecessor. AI needs data, fast. ConnectX-9 delivers 1.6 terabits per second of scale-out bandwidth to each GPU. BlueField 4 DPU offloads storage and security, so compute stays fully focused on AI. The Vera Rubin compute tray, completely redesigned with no cables, hoses, or fans, featuring a BlueField 4 DPU, 8 ConnectX-9 NICs, 2 Vera CPUs, and 4 Rubin GPUs. The compute building block of the Vera Rubin AI supercomputer. Next, the 6th generation NVLink switch. Moving more data than the global internet, connecting 18 compute nodes, scaling up to 72 Rubin GPUs, operating as one. Then, Spectrum-X Ethernet photonics. The world's first Ethernet switch with 512 lanes and 200 gigabit capable co-packaged optics scale out thousands of racks into an AI factory. 15,000 engineer years since design began, the first Vera Rubin NVL72 rack comes online. 6 breakthrough chips, 18 compute trays, 9 NVLink switch trays, 220 trillion transistors, weighing nearly 2 tons. One giant leap to the next frontier of AI. Rubin is here.
What do you guys think? This is a Rubin pod, 1,152 GPUs in 16 racks. Each one of the racks, as you know, has 72 Rubins. Each one of the Rubins is 2 actual GPU dies connected together. I'm going to show it to you. But there are several things that, well, I'll tell you later. Now, we decided that we would create an industry standard system so that the entire ecosystem, all of our supply chain, could standardize on these components. There are some 80,000 different components that make up these MGX systems, and it's a total waste if we were to change it every single year. Every single major computer company, from Foxconn to Quanta to Wistron, the list goes on and on and on, to HP and Dell and Lenovo, everybody knows how to build these systems. And so the fact that we could squeeze Vera Rubin into this, even though the performance is so much higher, and very importantly, the power is twice as high. The power of Vera Rubin is twice as high as Grace Blackwell. And yet, and this is the miracle, the air that goes into it, the air flow is about the same. And very importantly, the water that goes into it is the same temperature, 45 degrees C. With 45 degrees C, no water chillers are necessary for data centers. We're basically cooling this supercomputer with hot water. It is so incredibly efficient. And so this is the new rack. 1.7 times.
You can't spell NVIDIA without AI. They are at the forefront at advancing physical AI, training robots in virtual simulations to interact with the real world. After thorough training, this programming is seamlessly implemented, allowing robots to work alongside humans without disruption. NVIDIA has created an open ecosystem that makes AI tools accessible in various formats. They also showcased the Nvidia Rubin Platform to meet the growing demand for AI and supercomputers. I found it fascinating how they developed the method to water cool their systems using hot water. I hope this innovation makes its way into consumer products because water components tend to heat up and can harness that heat effectively. Once Jensen concluded his presentation, he invited everyone to the 4th floor to explore some of the products discussed in the keynote. We ascended and were amazed by the displays. We saw several GPUs and wished they would reveal the next generation of GPUs, but I suspected they would save that for Computex. Let's hope so. They showcased the new version of Rubin NVL72 rack, both as a wall display and through physical demonstrations.
But just, yeah, interesting ideas.
We've done many times.
As I explored, I spotted the new Mercedes CLA they featured in the keynote. A stunning car adorned with the Mercedes logos, and the headlights and taillights had the Mercedes logos in them, giving them a sleek look. Is it okay if I walk by real quick? Give me a quick second, bro. I can't wait to see them on the streets. I also came across the William Trinity Bike Project, a 3-wheeled electric vehicle reminiscent of Tron, powered by Nvidia's DGX Spark AI. With its LED wheels and exterior trim, I would love to ride one of these in my city. I heard they might retail around $30,000, but I really can't confirm that. Additionally, I saw a Tensor Robocar in person. These self-driving vehicles feature retractable steering wheels and pedals. The showroom floor had numerous robots, some designed to assist in workspaces, while others were purely for entertainment.
Oh, yeah. I really want to sit down too, so. Okay, baby. Está pegando.
You will see it on the screen.
Okay.
Capability is designed, so to speak, is quite good. But surely, I should propose students as well, like if you were God, putting the gender once again, like how would you redesign the world?
Tellement la lettre.
Oh, it's her. Yeah.
So that kind of talking about anyways, I don't know if you're actually going to have so you can do a location here on the top. If you drop down, we're going to do the Nvidia drop off quest. And this is just where it steps through kind of what it's doing. So there's kind of sort of a triage of tasks that the robots can pull from, and so it'll pick it up once it gets assigned. It's now ready for a pickup. If you want to continue. Go ahead and hit the medium drawer and do a scan. So the thing with Moxie is that it's a secure delivery. So in hospitals, they all have their own badges, and so we want to keep stuff locked. Right? So we'll tap on the thing here. On the medium drawer, there is a medium drawers around back. There is a pen for you. You're welcome to grab one.
Oh, okay. Can I get two from that?
Just one, unfortunately.
Okay.
So that's for, so the spot, those things are for Nvidia, so if you were to wear it, an Nvidia employee sees it, they'll give you a little something.
Oh, okay.
It's the thing that they're wanting to do.
Okay.
But yeah, so we've done our pickup. Come back around here and we'll finish the deliver. So in a scenario, we would have loaded something up in that drawer that we selected, and it's going to go to a drop-off. This is for a hospital. So like for like lab medication, like labs or medications or something like that.
And then in between its routes, can you ask it to pick up stuff or stop somewhere?
Right. Yeah. So if it's got a total of 3 drawers. So if there was another unit or something that wants to be loaded, it would be able to add on to those. Yeah. And then it would in order drop off to whichever one was first. So we'll scan. In this drop off scenario, you would have grabbed the thing that we loaded in the beginning.
Okay.
Yep. Yep.
What's your name, Jason?
Jason, yeah.
All right, Jerry.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
It was a little around 4 o'clock, and we needed to make our way to the Venetian for the AMD keynote, which started at 6:30 p.m. roughly. I learned the hard way that arriving at least 2 hours early is essential for these keynotes. We headed to the parking garage, which became crucial for my CES week and future events. Parking cost $20 at the Palazzo, and I realized it could serve as a central hub for navigating the convention areas. After parking, we proceeded to the Palazzo ballrooms to locate the AMD keynote suite. The walk was lengthy and somewhat confusing, but we successfully reached CES check-in, which was quite efficient. On our way to the ballroom, I noticed various companies like Gigabyte, MSI, AGI, and Thermaltake. We arrived at the 4th floor for the keynote around 4:40 p.m., well ahead of the 6:30 p.m. start time. I mingled with fellow attendees, meeting Chris Mizo and Frogboy X1 Gaming. I began live streaming, but unfortunately the internet connection at the Venetian was poor, affecting my experience for days to come. After about an hour of waiting, they started allowing us inside. I continued live streaming as I made my way to my seat, capturing photos of the stage as I anticipated the show. Dr. Lisa Su made her way on stage, and she emphasized AI's significance as the most impactful technology in the last 50 years, set to become as indispensable as cell phones and the internet.
Today, I'm incredibly proud to say that AMD technology touches the lives of billions of people every day. From the largest cloud data centers to the world's fastest supercomputers to 5G networks, transportation, and gaming, every one of these areas is being transformed by AI. AI is the most important technology of the last 50 years, and I can say it's absolutely our #1 priority at AMD. It's already touching every major industry, whether you're going to talk about healthcare or science or manufacturing or commerce, and we're just scratching the surface. AI is going to be everywhere over the next few years. And most importantly, AI is for everyone. It makes us smarter. It makes us more capable. It enables each one of us to be a more productive version of ourselves. And at AMD, we're building the compute foundation to make that future real for every company and for every person. Now, since the launch of ChatGPT a few years ago, I'm sure we all remember the first time we tried it. We've gone from 1 million people using AI to now more than 1 billion active users. This is just an incredible ramp. It took the internet decades to reach that same milestone. Now, what we are projecting is even more amazing. We see the adoption of AI growing to over 5 billion active users as AI truly becomes indispensable to every part of our lives, just like the cell phone and the internet of today.
She discussed the necessity of cloud infrastructure for training large AI models and delivering real-time intelligence was discussed, showcasing AMD's MI455 accelerators and Helios rack-scale platform.
The cloud is really where the largest models are trained and where intelligence is delivered to billions of users in real time. For developers, the cloud gives them instant access to massive compute, the latest tools, and the ability to deploy and scale as use cases take off. The cloud is also where most of us experience AI today. So whether you're using ChatGPT or Gemini or Grok, or you're coding with copilots, all of these powerful models are running in the cloud. Now, today, AMD is powering AI at every level of the cloud. Every major cloud provider runs on AMD EPYC CPUs. And 8 of the top 10 AI companies use Instinct accelerators to power their most advanced models. And the demand for more compute is just continuing to go up. Let me just show you a few graphs. Over the past decade, the compute needed to train the leading AI models has increased more than 4 times every year, and that trend is just continuing. That's how we're getting today's models that are dramatically smarter and more useful. At the same time, as more people are using AI, we've seen an explosion over the last 2 years of inference, growing the number of tokens 100 times, really hitting an inflection point. You can just see how much that inference is really taking off. And to keep up with this compute demand, you really need the entire ecosystem to come together. So what we like to say is The real challenge is how do we put AI infrastructure at Yotta scale? And that requires more than just raw performance. It starts with leadership compute, CPUs, GPUs, networking coming together. It takes an open modular rack design that can evolve over product generations. It requires high-speed networking to connect thousands of accelerators into a single unified system. And it has to be really easy to deploy. So we want full turnkey solutions. That's exactly why we built Helios, our next generation rack scale platform for the Yotta scale AI era, putting some of the tasks from the GPUs. Now, we are at CES. It is a little bit about show and tell. So I am proud to show you Helios right here in Vegas, the world's best AI rack. Is that beautiful or what? Now, for those of you who have not seen a rack before, let me tell you, Helios is a monster of a rack. This is no regular rack, okay? This is a double-wide design based on the OCP Open Rack Wide standard developed in collaboration with Meta. And it weighs nearly 7,000 pounds. So, Gary, it took us a bit to get it up here, just so you know. But we wanted to show you what is really powering all of this AI. It is actually more than 2 compact cars. Now, the way we've designed Helios was really working closely with our lead customers, and we chose this design so that we could optimize serviceability, manufacturability, and reliability for next-generation AI data centers. Now, let me show you a few other things. At the center of Helios is the compute tray. So let's take a closer look at what one of those trays look like. Now, I can tell you, I probably cannot lift this compute tray, so it had to come out. But let me just describe it a little bit. Each Helios compute tray includes 4 MI455 GPUs, and they're paired with the next-gen EPYC Venice CPU and Pensando networking chips. And all of this is liquid-cooled so that we can maximize performance. At the heart of Helios is our next-generation Instinct GPUs. And you guys have seen me hold up a lot of chips in my career. But today, I can tell you, I am genuinely excited to hold up this chip. So let me show you MI455X for the very first time. MI455 is the most advanced chip we've ever built. It's pretty darn big. It has 320 billion transistors, 70% more than MI355. It includes 12 2-nanometer and 3-nanometer compute and I/O chiplets, and 432 gigabytes of ultra-fast HBM4, all connected with our next-gen 3D chip stacking technology. So we put 4 of these into the compute trays up here. And then driving those GPUs is our next-generation EPYC CPU, codenamed Venice. Venice extends our leadership across every dimension that matters in the data center. More performance, better efficiency, and lower total cost of ownership. Now, let me show you Venice for the first time. I have to say, this is another beautiful chip. I do love our chips, so I can say that for sure. Venice is built with 2-nanometer process technology and features up to 256 of our newest high-performance Zen 6 cores. And the key here is we actually designed Venice to be the best AI CPU. We doubled the memory and GPU bandwidth from our prior generation, so Venice can feed MI455 with data at full speed, even at rack scale. So this is really about co-engineering. And we tie it all together with our 800 gig Ethernet Pensando Vulcano and Selena networking chips, delivering ultra-high bandwidth as well as ultra-low latency, so tens of thousands of Helios racks can scale across the data center.
Greg Brockman, president and co-founder of OpenAI, joined to discuss AI's evolution, the soaring demand for computing, and its life-saving capabilities.
55 and Helios is actually, a lot of it is through some of the feedback from our engineering teams working closely together. Can you talk a little bit about that infrastructure and what are your customers wanting and how are you going to use MI455?
Well, one of the key things with how AI is evolving is thinking about the balance of different resources on the GPU. And so we have a slide to show how we've seen the evolution of this, the balance of resources across different MI generations. So you see this slide that I very painstakingly put together. Actually, I did not painstakingly put it together. I asked ChatGPT to go create the slide. And so it literally did all the research, and you can see some sources at the bottom. And it actually went and read a bunch of different AMD materials, created these charts, put together the title, put together all of these headers, and produced not just an answer for me to then go do a bunch of work. It produced an artifact that I can show. And this is just one simple example that you can do today with ChatGPT, right? That we are moving to a world where you are going to be able to have an agent that does all this work for you. And for that, we're going to need to have hardware that is really tuned to our applications. What we have in mind is that we're moving to a world where human attention, human intent becomes the most precious resource. And so that there should be very low latency interaction anytime a human's involved, but there should be an ocean of agentic compute that's constantly running, that's very high throughput. And these two different regimes of low latency and high throughput yield a bunch of different pressures on hardware manufacturers such as yourself. So it's a pleasure to be working together.
We like building GPUs for you. That works well. Lastly, Greg, let's talk a little bit about the future. Paint a picture. One of the things that we've talked about is there's some people out there who are wondering, is the demand really there? Can AI compute? Do we really need all of this AI compute? And I know you and I have talked about it. I think people don't have a view of the future that you see. I mean, you have a special seat. So paint the world for what this looks like in a few years.
Well, looking backwards, we have been tripling our compute every single year for the past couple of years, and we've also tripled our revenue. And the thing that we find within OpenAI is every time we want to release a new feature, we want to produce a new model, we want to bring this technology to the world, we have a big fight internally over compute because there are so many things we want to launch and produce for all of you that we simply cannot because we are compute constrained. And I think we're moving to a world where GDP growth will itself be driven by the amount of compute that is available in a particular country, in a particular region. And I think that we're starting to see the first inklings of this. And I think over the next couple of years, we'll see it start to hit in a real way. And I think that AI is something where I think data centers can actually be very beneficial to local communities. I think that's a really important thing for us to really prove to people. But also the AI technology you produce, that is also something where, in terms of scientific advances, you think about what has been the most fundamental driver of increase of quality of life, right? It really is about science. And every time we've gone into specific domains, you just see how much limitation there is from how things are done because that's just, there's a particular discipline that's built with a bunch of expertise, there are a small number of experts, and that it's hard for them to propagate that to future generations. For example, in biology, we hooked up GPT-5 to a wet lab setup and had humans described what the wet lab looked like. The model said, here are a couple of ideas to try. The humans would go try it, and it actually produced a 79x, almost 100x fold improvement in the efficiency of a particular protocol. And that's just one particular reaction that people have spent some time actually optimizing, but not a ton of time, because it's just there's so much surface area available in biology that no human can possibly get to all of it. No human can be an expert across every single subfield. And I think what we're going to see is AIs that really bridge across disciplines that humanity has been unable to bridge, right? You see this within healthcare, where as humans learn more, we specialize more, but we're going to have AIs that are going to amplify. And so I think it'll be for hard problems that AI will be brought to bear. This will be true for enterprise. Every single application, I think, will have an agent that is accelerating what people want to do. And I think the hardest problem for humanity will be deciding how do we use the limited resources we have to get the most benefit for everyone.
That is an incredible vision, Greg. We are so excited to be working with you. I think there's no question in the world that we have the power to really change people's lives. Thank you for the partnership and really look forward to it.
Thank you.
Amit Jain, CEO and co-founder of Luma AI, presented Ray 3, the world's first reasoning video model capable of generating 4K and HDR video, discussing their growing partnership with AMD.
So at Luma, we are training these systems that simulate physics, causality, are able to go out, do research, call tools, and then finally render out the results in audio, video, image, text, whatever is appropriate for the information that you're trying to work with. In short, we are modeling and generating worlds. So as an example, let me show you some results from our latest model, Ray 3. By the way, Ray 3 is the world's first reasoning video model. So what it means is it actually is able to think first in pixels and latents and decide whether what it's about to generate is good. And it's also the world's first model that can generate in 4K and HDR. So please take a look.
When you close your eyes, what do you see? When we talk about reality, how do you know what is real? Or what is simply your imagination? Now open your eyes.
I could say, Amit, that looked pretty incredible. So tell us, how are customers using Ray 3 today?
So we are working with very large enterprises as well as individual creators across the spectrum. And we work with them in advertising, media, entertainment, and industries where, like, you want to tell your story. 2025 was the year when they started to deploy our models and experiment with them. And towards the end of it, we are seeing large-scale deployments where people are using our models for as much as actually making a 90-minute feature-length movie. What customers are also asking us a lot for, as they're using it more and more, is control and precision. How can they get their particular vision out onto the screen? And what we have realized, and to our research, is that control comes from intelligence, not just better prompts. You can't keep typing in again and again and actually do those things. So we have built a whole new model on top of Ray 3 called Ray 3 Modify that allows you to edit the world. So let me show you actually what that looks like. This won't have audio, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about what you're seeing. So what's playing on the screen is a demo of Ray 3's world editing capabilities. It can take any real or AI footage, so footage from cameras or footage that you generated, and change it as little or as much as you want to realize the creative goals. It's a powerful system that we have developed for our most ambitious customers who are most demanding, and they spread the gamut across entertainment, advertising, and this has allowed us to enable a new era of hybrid human-AI productions. The human becomes the prompt through motion, timing, and direction. You act it out, and then the model can produce it. What that means in practice is that filmmakers and creators can create entire cinematic universes now without elaborate sets, and then edit and modify anything to get to the result they want.
The keynote highlighted how AI is enhancing personal computing, making devices smarter and more personalized. A new development in AMD's AI-powered processor for PCs was introduced.
Again, with our next-gen Ryzen AI notebook and desktop processors. So today, I'm proud to announce the new Ryzen AI 400 series the industry's broadest and most advanced family of AI PC processors. Ryzen AI 400 combines up to 12 high-performance Zen 5 CPU cores, 16 RDNA 3.5 GPU cores, our latest XDNA 2 NPU delivering up to 60 TOPS of AI compute, and support for faster memory speeds. These flagship Ryzen AI mobile processors deliver significantly faster content creation and multitasking performance compared to the competition. Now, there's a lot of excitement for the Ryzen AI 400 series, and if you're walking around CES this week, you're going to see many notebooks launching this week. The first Ryzen AI 400 series PCs begin shipping later this month, with more than 120 ultra-thin gaming and commercial PCs launching throughout the year from every major OEM across every AI PC form factor.
The potential of AI in machines that see, decide, and act instantly was explored, along with its application supporting a permanent human presence on the moon with Blue Origin.
AMD technology is powering critical space missions today, from delivering satellite internet connectivity to remote communities, to enabling autonomous exploration of Mars, the moons of Jupiter, and beyond. On Mars, AMD adaptive computing enables the Perseverance rover to operate autonomously. That same technology is also powering robotic systems at NASA, JPL, and both the European and Indian space agencies, delivering reliable compute in some of the harshest and most unforgiving environments. One of the leaders in space exploration and a company using AMD technology to help build the next generation of spacecraft and lunar infrastructure is Blue Origin. Please welcome John Koulouris, Senior Vice President of Lunar Permanence at Blue Origin, to the stage.
Hi, Lisa.
John, thank you so much for being here. You know, Blue Origin is doing just some amazing things. Talk to us a little bit about your mission and what you're working on.
Yes, thank you everyone for having me here. I'm very excited to tell you about what we're doing. Jeff Bezos, our founder, likes to say that Earth is the best planet in the solar system. It's sustained life for millions of years. And as we explore the solar system, Earth will be the origin of that life, that pale blue dot that is Earth. And that's why our company is named Blue Origin. To protect that planet, we want to move heavy industry eventually off the Earth as we look to build things such as solar power satellites in low Earth orbit, settle the moon, settle Mars, explore the asteroid belt. We'll move on and we'll build that infrastructure so that eventually millions of people will be living and working in space for the benefit of Earth. And that starts with one person. Originally, we had Yuri Gagarin and Alan Shepard explore. Then the Apollo astronauts. Then just recently, the International Space Station celebrated 25 years of continuous human presence in space. The next step for us is lunar permanence. And our business unit that I'm lucky enough to be a part of is named Lunar Permanence specifically so that everyone knows immediately what we're trying to do, is establish a permanent presence of humanity on the moon.
AMD's involvement in the Genesis mission and commitment to investing in education for the future of AI were highlighted.
Going forward, there's a lot more that we can do to power the future of scientific discovery. We are actually working very closely with the US Department of Energy and America's national labs as part of the Genesis mission. Genesis is a national program launched late last year to accelerate the convergence of AI, supercomputing, and quantum computing. Together with Oak Ridge National Labs, we recently announced 2 new supercomputers that are part of the Genesis mission. The Lux computer, that is the first dedicated US AI factory for science that will come online early this year. And Discovery, the next flagship supercomputer planned in 2028. Genesis is the most ambitious public-private technology initiative in decades. Leading this historic effort is Michael Kratsios, who has shaped national policy at the highest levels as a former US CTO and Undersecretary of Defense for Research and Engineering. Please join me in welcoming the President's Chief Science and Technology Policy Advisor, Michael Kratsios, to the stage. Michael, thank you so much for being here. I know just how busy you are. You've described this Genesis mission as a real moonshot with the largest mobilization of federal scientific resources in decades. Can you talk a bit about why Genesis is so important?
The Genesis mission is a great example of how President Trump has moved fast in less than a year in order for the US to lean in and win the AI race. Genesis is the largest marshaling of federal scientific resources in recent history, and at a scale and an urgency at the Apollo mission or even the Manhattan Project. We are bringing together the unmatched power of our national laboratories, supercomputers, and the nation's top scientific and innovative minds with the goal of doubling the productivity and impact of American science within a decade. This whole of government approach represents a historic mobilization of resources, tasking the Department of Energy to integrate its world-class supercomputers and data sets into a unified, closed-loop AI platform. Integrating this data, the Genesis mission leverages the power of AI to automate experiment design, to accelerate simulations, and generate predictive models that accelerate federal R&D productivity.
AMD's presentation also revolved around more AI, emphasizing its focus from promoting AI performance to showcasing practical AI applications at scale, moving from zettaflops of data focused on AI to yotaflops of data focused on AI. AMD is actively incorporating Copilot Plus capabilities into desktop systems, not just mobile, initiating a new refresh cycle for commercial and prosumer uses. High-profile endorsements from Microsoft, OpenAI, and Blue Origin reinforced AMD's standing in the AI landscape. While I enjoyed both keynotes, I must admit that I might be biased due to witnessing them live. In comparison, I found Nvidia's presentation more impressive, the graphics were crisper, the robots were more dynamic, and their AI rack was more effectively showcased. AMD's Greg Brockman seemed a bit nervous, which was unfortunate. Still, he needed to maintain composure, especially while wearing a leather jacket like that. And as I mentioned, if you're showcasing a robot at CES, it should exhibit movement. Their demo did not move at all.
Is this gorgeous or what? Danny, tell us about Gene 1.
So our vision is a future where humans remain at the center, supported by technology. That's why we focus on building humanoid robots that people can trust and accept. For us, acceptability means beauty, grace, and safety. Gene 1 is Italian by design.
Is it really Italian?
Yeah. But basically, what really sets Gene 1 apart is touch. A distributed tactile skin across the robot body allows Gene 1 to feel pressure, contact, and intention, making touch a primary source of intelligence. Just to give you examples why this is so important, in factories, touch makes possible basically to allow human-robot collaboration. And in healthcare, that is going to be pivotal. Basically, a patient can hold the robot and he can feel how to help the patient in the best way. So this enables safer decisions and more natural interaction in the real world, powered by AMD Compute platforms. Our first commercial humanoid will be manufactured in the second half of 2026, and we are already working with industrial partners, including a leading steel manufacturer, to deploy these robots in safety-critical environments. Lisa, this is not science fiction, and we're making it happen thanks to you.
Thank you so much, Danny. This is truly exciting. We are super excited about what Gene 1 can do. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I even created a quick demonstration using Luma AI to illustrate how it should have been. Although both companies presented GPUs and CPUs, they weren't focused on primarily catering to the gaming community. It's a significant segment of the consumer base represented at CES, that's the C. They seem to market AI more towards investors than everyday users. That's what I felt like. Next year, I might consider skipping the keynotes altogether, as I felt I lost an entire day without gaining much valuable content from my channel. We strolled through the CES floor, even though it was closed, to explore the companies located at the Venetian.
Oh yeah, the internet's probably working a lot better because there's not as much people.
It understands your intent and generates realistic animations on the left, thanks to the RLHF reinforcement learning algorithm to make GIF animations.
Come sideways too.
And warm. When you say, I feel sad today, the AI instantly senses hunger and creates writing designed to comfort you. It's small enough to catch, and the writing adjusts effortlessly as the conversation flows. It feels just like an emotional companion.
So pretty much, we left the AMD a bit ago. We just checked the floor of CES. It was already closed by the time we got there. Snap, man. We're heading back to the hotel. I gotta get something to eat. I gotta edit videos, so it's gonna be a long night. Gotta wake up early tomorrow, do it all over again. So I'm trying to rush as much as I can, but at the same time, beauty takes time, so we'll see how it goes. We're on the way to the ride share. This helped us strategize a more effective game plan for the next day. Subscribe to the channel to catch next week's episode on how we went to the Lenovo Tech Show at the Sphere. See you guys soon, and thanks for liking and watching the video. Peace. Thank you for watching another video from Top 3 Entertainment. I hope you hit like and subscribe. Also, I'm going to have a recommended playlist, a recommended video right here, so make sure to click that as well. I appreciate you guys tuning in, whether it be to the Top 3 Tech, Top 3 Gaming, or the Why Not Me podcast. You guys are dope. I hope to see you guys in the next video. And of course, let's grow this thing together. Peace. Peace. Peace.